That's
Right.
great.
And then, yeah, okay, I think we got this.
Hey, welcome everybody. My name's Dani. I work at ICVC and my colleague here is Dr. Gary Ellem. We're part of the business development team and we're going to introduce you a little bit today to this fun platform called IC and also tell you a little bit about how it enables great collaboration virtually, which is the fantastic theme of this panel session. Now, Gary and I spend a lot of our time working with the K-12 sector, higher education, and also people that are involved with the running of academic events and mini conferences and things like that. So during COVID in particular, this platform's really come into its own as a very unique tool to be used for virtual collaboration. So we'd like to talk more about that. So just bear with us as we have a little bit of a conversation. Here's Gary.
Cheers. Thanks, Dani, and thanks for the great intro. Yeah, so I suppose what we want to think about today is there's a huge range of collaboration technologies out there. Anything from just sort of text things that work on your phone, all the way to other video conferencing products. Some of those are synchronous, some of those are asynchronous. But what we want to talk to you about maybe is really have a think about where collaboration starts, because that's a really interesting question. Because for a lot of us, collaboration starts with trying to form relationships with people.
Yes.
And especially those serendipitous relationships where you bump into somebody, and that's really why we have conferences and workshops and all these sort of real-time events that people visit, because they want to actually build new relationships.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, as humans, we actually need that unrestricted movement within space, to develop our perspectives, and it's very hard to find that in a two-dimensional product. And that's what I like about IC, I think, and that's what a lot of our users are telling us. It's for them, it's just this movement. It's a feeling. It's an experience. It's this freedom of choice that they get inside this environment that's not currently available elsewhere. So that's a little bit of the sweet spot around IC.
And that's really sort of understanding that relationship between choice. Yeah, so this is the the choice to move around inside and work out where you want to go and who you want to talk to. And it's sort of in that choice that the trusted relationship emerges.
Exactly. And I think the environment is very important to creating that feel to enable that trust as well. So what can you tell us about the environments with IC? I mean, you've been with the company for a long time. I'm relatively new. And I guess that's what I'm noticing is that the different environments that come with this platform create a different feel and suit different purposes as well.
Yeah, and of course we all know that in the physical world, we hire architects. It's this entire profession which is focused on the design of spaces. And why do we design spaces? Because we know that the design of space can help actually develop and focus the kind of interaction that happens in those spaces.
Yes.
And so just like that, we actually then build environments in IC, and IC is actually built inside a game engine. If you have a look around this room, just like a level in a game. And so you can actually design and build that from scratch. And you can design it to be whatever you want it to be. So you can design it to mirror some real world architecture or real world places, or you could make some fantasy places that are completely different. You could meet inside a cell, you could meet on the moon, you could meet wherever you want. All those things are possible in IC, but also in the design of the layout, you often design the layout to drive a particular kind of interaction. So if you think about this space that we're in here, this space is
very typical.
It's more of your sort of formal presentation space, but it's also got a fair bit of space, so it's possible for people to come in and do that sort of pre-mingling stuff before an event. So if you're holding a meetup, for example, you might want a series of presentations, but those presentations are deliberately put inside a larger networking meeting. It's got the space to actually do the networking meeting here and then pull people together, have a sort of more formal presentation, and then go back to the networking in a seamless sort of space and environment. We have other environments that are focused entirely on trying to separate people so that we really empower those little one-on-one conversations that people need to meet people and create relationships.
Yeah. It's been good to be involved in some of the networking sessions that have happened inside this particular environment, because, you can have up to 50 people or more moving around and having conversations. And it's that unique spatial audio functionality of IC that creates that normal feel of a meeting place, really. It feels like you are in a conference room, and the way people are in little sections, they've moved away, and I can see that they're having a conversation, and I can hear faintly in the distance that they're talking, but until I move close to them, I can't really make out what they're saying. And same as I'm here talking to you now, but if there was other people in the room and they were talking on my left, I would have to turn and face them, and that would improve the audio and the the loudness and the clarity
Maybe
of
we
what
could
they're
get
saying.
Angus, our camera person here, to actually like move back, and as you move back,
Oh, sure.
you'll probably hear our audio actually
Yeah.
start to get lower. To us, you'll hear our voices
Okay.
actually get louder and louder, and so
That's
that's
right.
sort of a good example of really how the spatial audio works in IC. That just like the real world, this is a 3D space, and it has physics, and the physics of sound is just like the real world. So
Yeah.
your sound dies out with distance, and it has direction. Thing that IC does really well in collaboration that a number of other products don't do is that it allows you actually to collaborate with content in parallel. So maybe we'll actually head over to another zone in IC, so another
Okay.
environment that might find that. In fact,
Yep.
we can maybe do that in the back room of this one, because this has a breakout space in the back of the lecture theatre. So how
Okay.
about we head up to the back of the lecture theatre inside the breakout room, and we'll
That'd be
show
good.
you how that works at the back.
I get to
Okay,
move.
you get
Let's
to move.
move.
So let's run up the
I'm
back, and
feeling
you can
energized. This is so good.
follow us
Let's
there,
go.
Angus. We'll head up the back. Sounds good. Rightio. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm right
Heading.
behind you.
Very good. There we go.
Yeah.
Navigating backwards.
There. Okay.
Okay, so this is like a sort of a standard sort of room. You can see you can have things like tables in the environment that you can move around and put wherever you want to. You can also see that there are these smart boards that you can stick up on the walls in places. But because IC itself is very spatial and you can move around, you have control and autonomy, then what you can have is different groups working with different content in the same room at the same time. So if you're sort of running a tutorial or something like that, you can oversee
Yep.
a number of different groups engaging in different ways. So for example, if I was to flick on my laser pointer here, you can see there's two boards here. Those boards are slightly separated from each other. So if you had a group around this board and a group around this board, this smart board, they could actually put they could put different content on the same on different boards. So you could have one group with a Google Doc, for example, on one of the boards collaborating together. You could have someone with a maybe with a Office 365 Word doc or something on the other board,
Yep.
and you can access through the web browser. So on the boards, you can put a whole heap of different content. You can put video files, you can put web browsers, you can put PDF and PowerPoint documents, you can put images, and so you can have lots of content running in parallel at the same time with groups working on different boards at the same time. So for example,
Perfect
if we
tool.
were to let's throw a web browser up on this board, for example. So that's that's a web browser running a website, and then on the other board, for example, we could upload a video. For example, if I could find that on my drive.
So this room could be themed. We could set this room up, or any of our other environments, with images to represent a particular feel that we were trying to create for an event. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so whether it's an event, you want sort of more static content, like we have a lot of research institutions who use this for their conferences, and so if you think about an academic conference sort of has three major components.
Yep.
And academic conferences, of course, are there to drive collaboration. The idea of an academic conference is you go there, you hear about new things, you meet new people, you build new relationships, and hopefully you build new collaborations coming out of the conference. Yep. That's the whole idea. And so to do that, traditional conference has three major components. They have the oral presentations, so you come and listen to someone speak. They have the poster presentations. They happen sort of parallel. They have lots of posters around and people go and talk and find detail. And then you have the networking events. And we find the real sweet spot for IC in those conferences is really the poster sessions and the networking events. You can actually do the oral presentations in IC as well without any problems. Sometimes conferences use a hybrid approach where they might use a conventional video, because often a presentation is a sort of one-to-many. You don't need all that many-to-many interaction. So they might use a conventional video conferencing tool for the conference presentations, but when you want to have the real-time networking and poster sessions, those kind of things, then IC is just the ideal platform. So we find that there's a lot of research and academic events really flocking to IC to use that in that respect. And that's, we have overseas users who are doing that. We're in the US Department of Energy, we're in lots of different places over there where they want to have this really many-to-many interaction around content. So for a poster session, you would just put those boards up around the room. People could come in and they could put their posters on those rooms, and people can mingle around, talk to each other, talk about their research, all those kind of things you do in a normal place. It just brings back that
in real time with their real camera. It's really them. Authentic.
So
I like that.
You meet the person, you talk to them, and you can have what's really fantastic is that you can have those sort of serendipitous grazing conversations where you could be, just like in the real world, you'd be sort of walking along and you sort of, as you move past the conversation, you can sort of hear some stuff, and then something can tweak and you can go like, and then you can sort of, that's how you sort of find new people to talk to. You can hear them talk about that and go, oh, okay, right, I'm really interested in that. How does that work? And you can then move in and join the conversation. And you can do that serendipitously in a way that you just can't do with sort of those sort of structured breakouts where you can say these people need to talk together and then these people need to talk together. You don't get that serendipitous interaction that you get in the real world. That's really is where those relationships start, how you discover these things, which is kind of fun.
And it's so safe. There's no risk. People can join from all over the world, just like at a real conference. Yeah, I love it. That's great. So we might wrap it up because there will be questions, no doubt, in the panel session.
Sure, there will be.
And people can join us at a demo. They just need to get in touch with us through our exhibition space and our stall that we've set up in the expo stand area. We would welcome them if they feel this is something that fills a need for their organisation. And we'd love to share it with them, show them around. So
I think that's great, and many thanks to Cyro for creating this event so that people can come together and discover new tools. I think it's really exciting. So look forward to talking to you all.
Timely topic. Great. Thanks. See ya.
Right, cheers, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Gary.